people want to acknowledge it or not. I say it over and over again. The way goes New York, goes the country, and the way goes the country goes the globe. It all starts right here. This place, under the leadership of previous years, Andrew Kimball's and others, it was clearly the incubator for innovation and a pipeline to turn today's students into tomorrow leaders and workforce leaders. The Brooklyn STEAM Center, something I put $5 million into as the borough president, continues to produce young, bright minds that don't have to watch buildings go up as their futures go down. They are participating in the building of our city and our economy for tomorrow. And I believe in what we could accomplish because innovation and growth is at the core of the spirit of New Yorkers and Americans. We're entrepreneurs, we're creative, we are realistic, pragmatic, but straightforward dreamers of the tomorrow. This is the place of cutting-edge industries that will lead our future and build our economy. One that dreams big, that solves big challenges ahead of us, and that empowers working people to participate in their city and government. And so today, we are happy to announce an impressive team of leaders that are part of our desire to build out our economy and our future in an equitable fashion. We're going to climb higher, and we're going to be bold and brave, and we're going to be unafraid. We're going to dismantle the culture of can't. The first thing we say in this city, particularly in our agencies, we start off with saying what can't be done. Those are days of the past. We're going to lean in what we will do and how we're going to do it. And we had to build our team with an anchor, and I am pleased to have an anchor that understands where we're going tomorrow and build on it strong today. And that's Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer. She has been a real leader in how government must recover, and in the days to come, we're going to roll out our real economic plan that's going to touch every aspect of our economy in general, but specifically for those who have been left behind for far too long to be prepared for employment. Part of this team is the announcement we're making today. CEO of the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Lindsey Green. Lindsey comes with years of experience, and we are proud to have her as part of this team. And our president and CEO of the Economic Development Corporation, as I mentioned, Andrew Kimball, a long track record of improving environments and turning around industries and bringing jobs here to, number one, the borough, but the entire city. And we're happy to reappoint the Commissioner of Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, Ann Castillo. She's going to bring her depth of experience as we build out our film industry and take a new look at what that agency should look at. And my reappointment of President and CEO of the Trust for Governors Island, Claire Newman. My conversations with her, a clear visionary on what Governors Island should look like. An island that has sat for far too long, untamed and undiscovered. We're going to redeploy our energies and our vision to see how that becomes part of not only the 5 boroughs, but to bring in tourism throughout our entire region. They will serve alongside those who I previously appointed. Dan Garodnick, what he did dealing with the rezoning in Manhattan, bringing in great interest, One Vanderbilt to state, really is part of feeding our economy for the future. And we're happy to have Dan as the chair of the City Planning Commission, and Edith Sue Chen, our executive director of the commission, a real partnership. And we are really pleased with Kevin Kim, our Small Business Service Commissioner. I see Kevin on the ground all the time, learning more for the small businesses and how we're going to assist them. And my good friend Jose Ortiz Jr. Wanted him for so long to be on this team, from the 4 years of running, sitting down with him in mornings, talking about the future of Employment. He's the Senior Advisor for Workforce Development, and you're going to see real results out of his vision. But I want to say broadly that every corner of this city must participate in our growth and recovery. This is a diverse group of leaders. Look at them. They are representative of New York City and what we represent and who we are. Whether it's Lindsay, who has done incredible work at EDC and now is making history as the first black woman and open LGBTQ member to head this major enterprise. It states that we're moving in the right direction. Or Andrew, who has been a visionary here at the Navy Yard in that industry city, transforming both locations. Or Ann, who has fought every day to deal with COVID and helping those blue-collar workers that were impacted. Or Claire, who has already started unlocking the potential of Governor's Island. Everyone on this team understands the mission. The mission and the bottom line is to get stuff done. Bureaucracy, inefficiency, and inability to move forward has hampered this city for far too long. That will not be the hallmark of the Adams administration. The decade of collective experience that all of them bring to this table will show what fearless leadership is about as we move forward in the right direction. So now I want to turn it over to my amazing Deputy Mayor of Economic and Workforce Development, Maria Torres Springer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Adams. Good morning, everyone. I'd first like to thank David Ehrenberg and Hank Gutman for the incredible stewardship and leadership of this amazing enterprise, the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and for hosting us today. I ask that all of you take one good look at the leaders behind me who are standing and sitting with us today. The talent, the experience, the creativity, and the diversity in this room. This is a great day for our city. It is a great day for our economic future, but it is especially a great day for working people all over the 5 boroughs. This is a blue-collar administration led by a blue-collar mayor. And as the Deputy Mayor for Economic and Workforce Development, I spend every day fighting to build a recovery for all New Yorkers. That means accelerating this recovery as fast as we possibly can and getting our people back to work, especially in the industries that have been most hard hit by COVID. But as this theme will tell you, we are not just chasing a return to normal. We're New Yorkers. We don't stop at good enough. As we come out of COVID, we will make this city a place where everyone shares in our prosperity, where every family has the opportunity, the security, the dignity they deserve, where every neighborhood, especially communities of color that have too often been left behind, can flourish, where we create jobs of the future, right here at places like the Navy Yard, jobs in advanced manufacturing, life sciences, clean energy, and more. We can set our city on a new path. All of that is possible with this team and with New Yorkers because we have the vision, we have the expertise, we have the abiding love for all of our neighborhoods, and we have the drive to, as the mayor has charged us every day, to get stuff done. So I'm just so thrilled to lead this formidable team. And now, let us hear from them. So first, I want to introduce the incoming president and CEO of the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Lindsay Green. Lindsay comes to us from EDC, where she was Chief Strategy Officer and Executive Vice President. Now, I have known Lindsay for nearly a decade, and I know that she is laser focused on making sure that all New Yorkers benefit as we rebuild our economy. Lindsay.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Mayor Adams. Thank you all for coming today. I just want to thank again Mayor Adams and Deputy Mayor Torres Springer for this amazing opportunity. It's a dream opportunity, really. And I want to thank David Ehrenberg and Hank Gutman for their leadership of the Yard and their continued support in this transition. Thank you. I also want to thank the Navy Yard tenants who helped me with my local shopping spree so I could showcase the wares of Yard-made items today, my shirt, my shoes, and my earrings. I want to thank Kaisha at Hip Hop Closet. I want to thank Wakas and Sidra at Adams, and I want to thank Gina at Rebel Designs. The Navy Yard is rich in history and brimming with the promise of the future. It's one of the best national examples of urban manufacturing and a true job engine for a big city. And it's powered by the dreams and energy of creative New Yorkers like Kaisha, Wakas, Sidra, and Gina. And for this next chapter under my leadership, I really want to focus on building more local businesses like theirs, creating pathways for worker advancement, and ensuring that the people shaping the innovations, tools, and companies of the future really represent the diversity of our great city. I look forward to continued strong partnership with local residents, elected officials, and everyone working here to cement the Yard as a true center of inclusive economic development. I just want to say thank you so much again and give a special hello to my future CEO daughters, Naya and Zuri. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Now we are going to hear from the incoming President and CEO of the New York City Economic Development Corporation, Andrew Kimball. Andrew has overseen the transformation of Industry City and Sunset Park, as well as serving as President and CEO of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I've known Andrew for more than a decade, and he is a true visionary, a deeply empathetic human being, and his deep experience across the public, civic, and private sectors will surely serve our city well in the very hard work ahead. Andrew.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Torres Springer. It's an honor to be coming to work for you, and congratulations on assembling this extraordinary team. Mr. Mayor, we're all here because we're inspired by your vision and your understanding that to bring this city roaring back from the difficult last 2 years, to build the kind of inclusive, equitable economy we all want to see, we're going to need public-private partnership. To maintain New York City and grow it as one of the great innovation centers in the world, we're going to need public-private partnership. And to build the kind of workforce development, career pathways, entrepreneurial opportunities that we all want to see in a more equitable and inclusive city, we're going to need public-private partnership. And I can't wait to get started and to get stuff done. I just want to thank my wife, Sarah Williams, who's been with me every step of the journey, starting here 17 years ago with our 2 little boys who now dwarf me at 6'3" and 6'4" and are getting out of college, to my colleagues, Jackie Williams and Lee Silberstein, with me every step of the way. I just want to acknowledge again the Navy Yard's great story, which is a story of continuing tremendous leadership. From me, handing the baton to David and Hank, and to now Lindsay. It's an extraordinary story, and I know, Lindsay, you're going to have a fantastic time. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Now I'd like to introduce Andel Castillo, the returning commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. Ann is a true embodiment of Get Stuff Done. She really led the economic recovery of the city's creative and nightlife sectors throughout the pandemic. Ann.
Good morning, and I want to offer my heartfelt congratulations to my colleagues. I'm thrilled to be part of this amazing team. As a native New Yorker, I am also extremely humbled and proud to be able to continue this critical work of rebuilding and growing our city's creative economy that is such an iconic and integral part of New York City and that contributes so greatly to its image and allure around the world. I want to thank Mayor Adams for his confidence and remarkable support from day one. I also want to give a special thanks to my family for their sacrifice and support of this important work. I thank you to the industry that works with us day in and day out, and thank you to the amazing team at the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment that drives our agenda to increase access and opportunities for New Yorkers every day. Let's get stuff done for the great city of New York. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Now we will hear from Dan Garodnick, our new chair of the City Planning Commission and director of the Department of City Planning, a former member of the City Council. He also served as a CEO of the Riverside Park Conservancy, and in his short time at DCP, he has already been a transformational leader, and I can't wait to see what he will accomplish on behalf of our neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. Dan.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Torres Springer. Thank you, Mayor Adams, for the opportunity to join this extraordinary team that you have assembled here today. Andrew Kimball, Lindsey Green, Ann Del Castillo, Jose Ortiz Jr., Kevin Kim, it is a real honor to be here with all of you, and of course my partner, Edith Sue Chen at City Planning. Mr. Mayor, as a lifelong New Yorker, I share your concern about the challenging moment that we find ourselves in. A moment where we face an affordability crisis, a housing crisis, and a health crisis all at the same time. There has been nothing quite like it in history. This group together is determined to support you in your efforts to find smart ways to plan for the future and to spur economic development in the city that we all love. At the Department of City Planning, along with Edith Sue Chen, who you're going to hear from in a moment, we intend to bring a fresh approach. That means not only taking steps to promote equitable growth, preparing for a changing environment, and respecting the needs of every community in the city, but it also means working to offer a positive user experience for everyone, from elected officials to community board members and all applicants in New York's public decision-making process. For those projects that align with our city priorities, we will not only approve them, but we will be their champions. We know how important this is to getting the city back on its feet and to getting stuff done. Mr. Mayor, together we will rise to meet this moment. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Dan. Now I'd like to introduce Edith Sue Chen, the new Executive Director of the Department of City Planning. Edith has served as the department's Manhattan Director since 2008, after first joining DCP in '97. She is a real force of nature whose energy, expertise, and lived experience will ensure that all voices are heard as we plan and build for the future. Edith.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, and the City Planning Commissioner, Dan, for this incredible honor to serve as the Executive Director at City Planning. Like many of my fellow New Yorkers, I'm an immigrant who made the most of some lucky breaks, including getting my foot in the door at City Planning more than 20 years ago as a paid intern. It's all about opportunities. And I am thrilled to be part of this team that is committed to create opportunities in jobs, in housing, in commuting, and in having fun. That's for the mayor and for Dan. And as we work towards creating a more inclusive and equitable city, we're working hard to make sure that New Yorkers have more than a lucky break. Our ambition is to create a bounty of options. So Dan and I and the incredible team at City Planning are hard at work already, working hard to build the brightest future for New York. I thank my family, including my sister who's here today, true immigrant, bring my family everywhere. And I thank you. I thank you all. Thank you.
What did I tell you about that energy level? Thank you, Edith. Now we will hear from Kevin Kim, our new Small Business Services Commissioner. Kevin is the first Korean American to hold the post. He previously served as a State Liquor Authority Commissioner and was himself a business owner. So he is wholeheartedly committed to making sure that we not only lift up small businesses, but we really ensure that they propel our economic recovery. Kevin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As Mayor Adams often says, there is no such thing as a French dream or the German dream, but there is certainly the American dream, and you're looking at someone who's living that dream right now. As a proud son of immigrant parents from South Korea who built up a small business in the garment district from scratch, I know firsthand the transformational impact to a family, to a community when a small business actually succeeds. So I'm here just to thank the Deputy Mayor and the Mayor for their trust in me, and I'm really looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and working with this talented and diverse group to make this city come back stronger and more equitable than ever before. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. And last but not least, we will hear from Jose Ortiz Jr., our incoming Senior Advisor for Workforce Development. He comes to us from the New York City Employment and Training Coalition, where he has been CEO since 2018. Jose is a real master of forging public and private partnerships, which will be so critical as we reimagine our public workforce system so it works better and harder for all New Yorkers. Jose.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Mayor Adams, for your support and allowing for me to be here today. I'm going to keep it short. Everyone, my colleagues have said pretty much everything I'd like to say, but I want to just thank everyone for the incredible support that they provided in terms of this moment that we're having here to make a real transition and take advantage of a real important opportunity to grow the city equitably. I want to thank my family, my wife, and my two lovely children for their incredible support. And I'm just excited to get stuff done and make sure that we can grow the city in a more equitable fashion and getting people back to work. So, thank you.
If you haven't noticed, the team often have these little Eric sayings that they say all the time. I want to also, it's crucial for us, we're in the district of my good friend, Councilman Lincoln Ressler, who's here as well. But also, we can't get this done without the partnership in the City Council. And so we are really pleased to be joined by Councilwoman Amanda Ferris, Chair of Economic Development Committee, and I would just love for Amanda to say a few words before we open for on-topic questions.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Sorry, the hoop earrings are open in the back. Good morning, everyone. Just want to say thank you to our Deputy Mayor and obviously our Mayor Eric Adams. I'm super excited to be here. As the chair of the Committee on Economic Development, I'm thrilled to be anticipating and thrilled to be working with all of these folks behind me. Really a lot of folks with great experience that are going to bring this city forward with where we need to be. We need to see economic growth, and we need to see that in a plethora and variety of sectors, so our young people and older adults that need to be upskilled and trained can actually get back out there and get to work. Personally, I'd like to say that I'm really excited to work with Andrew Kimball, that's leading EDC, which my committee oversees. His past years at Industry City and Brooklyn Navy Yard have shown what an innovative leader he is. I look forward to working together on economic development and building more opportunities for residents in our city. Equally as excited that the appointments of Lindsey Green as the chair of Brooklyn Navy Yard and Ann Del Castillo to lead MOM. Green and Del Castillo are both extremely qualified and will play vital roles in guiding our city's economic recovery and future from COVID-19 pandemic. And honestly, this group of folks behind me is just really amazing, and we're going to do really great work together. I'm really looking forward to the partnership that we'll be building and the work we get to do. So thank you for giving me a moment to speak, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just look forward to working with everyone in the city. Thank you.
Katie?
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
How are you, Katie?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
My question's for you, and I guess for Andrew Kimball. Looking at the EDC, are there any things, initiatives within the EDC under the de Blasio administration that you would like to maybe look at or reevaluate, especially the ferry service? I know it's costing the city more and more money. It continues to, I guess, take some money and some of that from the EDC. So I don't know, the mayor's take and then your take on what you might change about the ferry service in particular.
Sure, thank you for the question. I won't be starting for about 10 days, so I'll have a lot more to say after that. Look, EDC has a long track record going back to the 70s of innovation, of ways to find that nexus between the public and private sector to get big stuff done. They've continued to do that. I think the ferries is one of the great success stories, actually, of the last decade. Absolutely. We need to be looking at the cost structure and management of that, and that will be something I'll be looking at very closely once I start.
I know Mayor de Blasio had previously never wanted to make it higher than the subway fare, but cities around the country, you know, in San Francisco it's $9. Would you perhaps look at ways to raise the fare to make it actually profitable?
I look forward to coming back to you in a few weeks on that.
There's one thing I would say. We have to be more creative in the course. There's certain riders of the ferry system that are in multi-fare zones and are in transit deserts, Rockaway, Staten Island, Coney Island, and so we must be open to creative pricing based on where people are located. And I'm going to sit down with the team and figure out those who are in locations where there's easy accessibility to transportation. We need to balance this out, and we must be creative in doing so. The ferry is an important system. It helps tourism. It opens our waterways. It allows cars to get off the road. But we've had a real transportation problem based on where you reside. If you're in Queens, if you're in Rockaway, if you are out on Staten Island, we have to equalize that. And those are some of the things we're going to do. We have to think outside the box. As a matter of fact, we don't want to think outside the box. We want to destroy the box. We want to think differently as an urban center.
Mr. Mayor, I know you've been insistent on an eventual return to 5-day-a-week work week for places like Midtown, Lower Manhattan, and how important that is for the economic development of the city. But we see so many more companies coming out with policies, permanent hybrid work policy. It seems like that's where the big business environment is going. Have you allowed for the possibility that Midtown may not ever return to what it was in 2019? And how would Midtown change in that regard? And I'd love to hear perspective from folks behind you on that.
And that is so important because Midtown was not always Midtown. There was a transformation. Some of the transformations may come about through tragedies, and others may come about just a natural evolution of who we are as humankind. And what we are going to do, and I'm going to have the deputy mayor look at, we need to bring together all of the entities in our city, education, employment, infrastructure, housing. What is New York now post-COVID? We have not done that, and we can't stumble into it. And so if there's going to be a hybrid model, we need to not stumble into that hybrid model. We need to be clear on that. And so I agree with you 100%. Who we were pre-COVID is not who we are post-COVID. But I do know this. In order for our economic, financial ecosystem, I should say, to function, we have to have human interaction. It can't be done from home. And if we do that, then we are going to greatly impact low-wage workers. So it's imperative that our economic leaders sit down and say, what is our business centers and districts are going to look like? Do we change the zoning? Do we allow these new workforce housing that's coming together outside because there's new ways people are doing business? So we need to look at all of those things, and that's what they are charged with. But again, one thing that can't happen, you can't stay home in your pajamas all day. That is not who we are as a city. You need to be out, cross-pollinating ideas, interacting with humans. It is crucial. We're social creatures, and we must socialize to get the energy that we need as a city.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good, Marcia.
I have an off-topic question. Yes.
Just got to keep an eye on these young guys, Marcia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's actually to follow up on the hybrid issue. What are your concerns about commercial real estate, given that, you know, companies might not need 2 and 3 floors in a building? They might, you know, just use one because people are working 3 days a week at home and 2 days a week in the office. And how does that impact commercial real estate taxes?
And I hear that all the time. We speak with our corporate leaders often, and I hear that that the downsizing, the footprint has changed, sharing desk, as you said, hybrid models. I hear that all the time. And so what it's going to do, I believe, is going to open the door for new incubators, more shared spaces. It's going to give opportunities to those who have historically could not take a whole entire floor print, but want to work in Manhattan. I believe that this is going to really expand who is able to have a Manhattan address. I think this is a great opportunity. I'm excited about the reimagination and the reinventing of what our central business district looks like. So you may have smaller footprint, but you may have more companies in that floor space. And that is what the deputy mayor is charged with doing, of how do we reinvent, reimagine ourselves. We did it before. For those who recall, at one time, Lower Manhattan, 5 o'clock, no one was there after everyone went home. And then people all of a sudden discovered that you can live in the downtown area, and we started living there. Now you go there on the weekend, it is a thriving community. And so I think this is a place of opportunity on how do we reimagine ourselves as a city.
I wanted to ask, you talked about converting outer borough hotels into housing. I was wondering if you could talk about the opportunity you see for like midtown office buildings conversions into housing or affordable housing.
Yes. I think everything is on the table. We did it during post 9/11. We changed the zoning and changed ways we can do housing in office space. And I think we should be open to do so. I visited an office the other day that had some beautiful water views, and I said, you know what, I could put my kitchen here. I would love to live here. And so whatever it takes to get people back into our business district, and if it means conversion to housing, we need to think about those things and get it done in a real way. I am open. I'm going to lean on this great team to tell us the best way to do so. They're the experts. They're going to guide these policies, and I'm excited about the team we're able to assemble. Let's do 2 off topics. I have to get to Long Island to the firemen's funeral.
Mr. Mayor.
How are you, Marshall?
How are you, sir?
Good.
I have 2 questions. The first one has to do with the fact that there's been an 80% increase in weapons that have been found in New York City schools. And I wonder what you're going to do about it, but also why it would make sense. Right now, your budget calls for reducing the number of school safety officers by 560 positions. You would think that given the fact that they're collecting these weapons, you would want to increase the number or at least bring it up to what it was pre-pandemic. So what are you going to do about it, and why not hire more school safety officers?
And Chancellor Banks is looking at that. We had every commissioner and the chancellor look at their agencies and determine where they were going to carry out the PEG. So Chancellor Banks is looking at that. Remember, that was a preliminary budget. If we see the need to make modifications, we're open to doing that. Second, we must be smarter. I'm going to be rolling out in a few days a device that we're testing that allows us in a humane way to identify guns and weapons. You know, everyone everyone is asking about this device. We want to make sure we test it properly, and we're currently in the process of testing it, and we're going to place it in schools so we can do a better job in identifying weapons. And I'm a big believer. I was one of the few candidates that did not support removing school safety agents. I'm a big believer in them. They serve a major role, and if we feel a need to boost the numbers, we're going to do so.
I guess the question is this. A a lot of the students who are bringing weapons to schools say they're bringing them because they're afraid. It seems that it's for self-protection. There is a huge increase, believe it or not, in people bringing tasers and stun guns. And I wonder, what can you do to make people feel safe in schools so they're not bringing weapons and guns and tasers and knives and all of these things? And it usually breeds, conflict. So what can you do?
Well, two things. Number one, I hear that often. I sat down with a group of rappers that were in the drill rap industry, and they stated that many people are carrying guns because they feel afraid. And I said to them, and I share with you, that's not acceptable. I am not going to tolerate the reason you're carrying a weapon is because you feel afraid. My job is to make you feel safe, but we are not going to give in to the belief that if we feel unafraid, that we are going to carry a gun. If we feel our doctor didn't do a good job, we're going to get any drugs that we want. This is not a do what you want city and country. We're going to focus on making people feel safe in schools immediately, but also proactively, really supporting conflict resolution, creating environments in the schools where children can talk to each other and not feel they have to fight each other. It's an indictment on our city when a child must carry a taser, a stun gun, or a gun. That is not acceptable, and that's the environment that David Banks, our chancellor, is clear on creating. So there are things we can do to make children feel safe. And that's an indictment on us as a society that our children are not feeling safe. But I'm not accepting anyone stating they're going to carry a weapon because they don't feel safe. That's a slippery slope that we will never be a part of supporting.
The question has to do with the fact that there's been a number of people in the LGBTQ community that are upset with some of your appointments. I wonder if you're going to continue to make those appointments, or is there anything that you would like to say to the LGBTQ community that's going to be protesting in City Hall tomorrow, saying that they want their voices heard and that you shouldn't be appointing people who are against things like same-sex marriage and other programs that are important to the LGBTQ community?
Well, I think that, when we fought for marriage, those of us who are on the front line, I'll never forget Marsha taking the vote and advocating the year before the vote, and I got a call from my brother-in-law who was a pastor who stated, you can no longer come into my church. I'm no longer allowing you to worship in my church. A year later, he sat down and he spoke with me, and he says, I was wrong. Everyone who fought for marriage, who fought for gender, who fought against the crimes against the LGBT community, many of us were alone. Many Americans came later, President Obama, some of the elected officials you have today. This was a different America when marriage was first brought to the floor. If we say everyone who did not get it then should be banished permanently, that's the wrong message. The goal is to convert, allow people to evolve so that they can see the error of their ways. That's who we are. And so I say to my allies in the LGBTQ community, we're talking about Eric Adams, someone who has stood with you, fought with you, side by side, even at my political detriment. We can get through this together. But I must send the message in the energy that we're talking about prison reform. We're talking about wiping slate clean of people who committed homicides. We're talking about transformation of ourselves and our characters. This is where we are. And they know me and I know them. And if they want to protest, I support that because I've been on a lot of protest lines also. But as I continue to tear down barriers, we have to do this together. And where people were is not necessarily where they are. And I communicated with everyone that I hired. I have a rigorous selection process to determine who's going to be in city government. And whomever serves under me will serve all New Yorkers.
Sure. So Boston, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. are all in the process or already have phased out the vaccine passports for entering indoor spaces. Does New York have a plan to do that? Do you have metrics to do that? Will it be phased out at some point soon, like those other cities?
Yes, and I can't wait to get it done. I think that I take my hat off to New Yorkers through masks, through vaccines, through social distancing. We were hit with the uncertainty, the fear of COVID. I'm really proud of how we responded as New Yorkers. And every morning I meet with my health professionals because I always stated I'm going to follow the science. I'm not going to get ahead of the science because I'm ready to get ahead of all of this and get back to a level of normalcy. But they're giving us clear instructions. They gave us benchmarks. We're going to follow those benchmarks. But I look forward in the next few weeks going to a real transformation that I don't have to wonder what you look like. I would know what you look like again. And so we are moving in the right direction. We're going to do it in a safe way because all of these experts will tell you one thing. We can't close down again. We can't close down again. And I'm not going to do something out of my anticipation to get back that's going to jeopardize closing down the city again. Our economy can't handle it. We don't have another $11 billion to put back in the economy. We must do it in a smart way, and people are going to look back later and say, he made the right decisions. We're going to get the city back up and operating, and we're going to be rolling out some things in the next day or so on how we're going to carry that out. Thank you very much.